Hi you guys, it's Karina. So I am back with another video tutorial today for you guys. So it is going to be on a sunflower using two separate templates of mine. So for the floral part, the petals, we are using my template 108. And then for the center for the sunflower, I did use my Ping Center 5. So I am going to be showing you how to make this. Now I do have other sunflower tutorials already on my YouTube channel. Just using different templates because honestly I feel like with the sunflower there's different types of petals that you can use. So if you want more like the rounder petals, I do have tutorials on here on that. And for the center too, I did make a center on this one right here. When I first released this center, you can also find it here. Look for my Ping Center 5 tutorial where I show you, I want to say like 2 or 3 centers, and this one is included in that tutorial. This one obviously is a little bit different. This one is not so much on the inner part compared to this one, which is why I wanted to make another tutorial, because I was like, well, should I make another one since I kind of already have the tutorial for this one? But I know some of us like more of a fuller center in the center for the sunflowers, just more of a rounder. You know what I mean, right? How this is a little bit smaller. This one's bigger. So I figured, you know what? I'm just, spring is coming. I think of sunflowers. So I am going to show you guys how to do this. Super simple. I will tell you though, disclaimer, it is time consuming. And that is obviously the center part. It's going to require a lot of this image of my Ping Center 5 to make this. Now I do have another tutorial I want to say. I don't know if it's on my Instagram TV or also my YouTube. If you have Cricut Design Space, there are certain images from Cricut Design Space that you could use to recreate a center like this. But this one is my personal center that you can find on my Etsy shop. So let's get with it. Let me show you what my Ping Center 5 looks like. I already have a set already cut out for you. And then we're going to go to Cricut Design Space because I did use my Cricut Design Space to cut out the image, and I'm going to give you the measurements. Okay. Now here I have one of the mats that I did not pull because I wanted you to see. So there's going to be a lot of cutting involved, just a disclaimer, for this particular center. And the nice thing about this center is that we can use the scraps, which we will be using in order to make, so that way we're not cutting too much paper. So I am using text weight and cardstock, okay, because I always get asked what type of paper do you use when I'm making my flowers. So for this particular flower, I am using text weight, even for the petals. So it is a little flimsy, as you can see. So this is definitely, for suggestion, if I were to put this mounted on the wall, I would definitely have to secure it more with push pins, like the petals, pinning them back, just because the petals are more flimsy. But that's the look that I wanted, which is why I went with text weight paper. So it's super thin material, but I feel like that's what gives a sunflower the look. Now I did make another sunflower in cardstock. Let me show you what that looks. So here's the other sunflower I made because I wanted a brighter yellow, and I did use 65-pound cardstock weight. So as you can see, it's not as flimsy. I'm just shaking it so you can see the difference. So this is more durable, the 65-pound cardstock. So I just wanted to show you the difference between this, that is copy paper, text weight paper, whatever you want to call it, and this is 65 pounds. So you can use either one. Just be aware that with text weight paper, it is more flimsy. So when you are mounting it, I do find that they tend to sag more. So definitely you want to make sure that you're securing the petals. And I always just use push pins and then just pin them all the way kind of up towards the bottom and then just pin them to the wall. That's an option right there, okay? But I am going to be using copy paper today, or text weight, whichever you want to call it, and then a mixture of cardstock for the center, 65-pound weight. Okay, so here is one of the sizes, which is one of the larger sizes, but I just want to show you, and we'll get into the measurements right now. So when you are peeling your center, first I always grab the scraps, and I always just cut right here with the scrap ends, and then I'm just gonna pull gently, especially with text weight. Again, it's more flimsy. So this is actually the scrap. So you can see what I say, keep the scraps. We don't want to waste these, okay? And then, so that was the bottom one. Let me do the top one, 2. Just pulling it very gently, and then I just cut right here where it ends, just to separate it. And then this is the original Pink Center 5. Obviously it's enlarged, and that's the nice thing about the pink or SVG. This is a, I want to say this is a pink, or is this an SVG? Oh gosh, I don't remember if this is an SVG or a Pink Center, because I have both, which both can cut with cutting machines, and both, either if it's a pink or SVG, I don't remember, guys, I gotta check. You can resize the image, which is nice. Okay, so this is what it'll look like, the center, the original, but again, we're going to use the scraps, and I do separate them. So separate the scraps from the original, because obviously sizing is different. Okay, so separate them because we will be using them. So now let me take you to Cricut Design Space and give you the measurements and how many you need to cut if you want to recreate the center that I just showed you. Okay, you guys, so here is the first Pink Center, or the measurements, I should say. So this, it is the pink, a Pink Center 5. So I did double check. So you are going to need 5 of them. And these are the measurements. So width 10.733, height 1.495. Now I was able to cut all 5 on an 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Okay, so typically when I do these centers, I try to fit as many as I can on one sheet, and you are going to cut this 3 times. So let me just go to make it so you can kind of see what it'll look like. Why is it not focusing? There you go. So that is what it will look like. So when you place your 8.5 11 sheet on the mat, make sure that you're not doing vertical, you want it horizontal. Okay, so just like that. So 5 of them will cut, and you're going to cut 3 times. So in total, you should have cut 15 of the original. Okay, so technically you'll have what, 30 in total between the scraps and the original image. So make sure you cut 3 mats. Okay, this is the next size that you will need. This time they are slightly larger, so only 4 of them will be able to fit. And let me give you the measurements. Let me click on one. There we go. Width 10.635, height 1.898. So again, you are going to need only 4. You will be able to cut this on an 8.5 by 11, and you're going to cut as well 3 mats. Okay, so 3 mats you are going to cut. Okay, so that's the second size. So we are on to the last size. Here is the last size. So as you can see, this is larger, so only 3 of them will fit. So here are the measurements: width 10.617, height 2.676. So again, these 3 will be able to cut on an 8.5 by 11 sheets. Let me just show you. There we go. So for this one, because now I am introducing the color yellow to this, so let me just show you. So that's this part right here, this outer part. So you are going to want to cut 2 mats in the brown and 2 mats in the yellow. Okay, so again, so cut 2 mats of these in brown. So in total, you'll have 6 of the original plus the scraps, and then 2 mats of the yellow, which will you have 6 of the original yellow plus the scraps. So that is it. It's gonna be a lot, you guys. Yeah. So let's get started on how to assemble. Okay, you guys, so sorry if it's too bright. It's rainy and cloudy, so I do need my overhead light. So so this is the first size that I shared with you guys, and we're going to be working on this inner center part. So here are my scraps, and then this is the original image. So you're going to start off with your scraps. Now, I did do a variety of brown cardstock. It doesn't matter what you prefer to do. I'll be honest, I ran out of certain browns. So I just pretty much use whichever browns I had. So there's a combination of light and dark brown. All right, sorry guys, that was my door. So you are going to start with the scrap, and we are going to roll. It's honestly super simple. It's just time consuming. Glue and adhere. You're gonna add glue and then grab another scrap and just glue around. And that's it. So you are going to first glue all the scrap pieces, but just for this size. Okay, so this is the first size that we cut. So we're going to start rolling the scraps first. And once all the scraps have been rolled and glued, then that's when we will add these over here. So let me go ahead and finish the scrap part, and then let me show you what it'll look like by adding this one. Okay, you guys, so I rolled up all the scraps of the first size. Okay, so this is the scraps of the first size. So now I am on to the other original size that I told you to separate from that first cut. And you're going to do the same thing where you are just going to roll them. And that's it. You're just going to do this until now you get rid of all of these. Okay. So let me go ahead and finish rolling these, and I'll get back. All right, you guys, so I am done rolling the other image on here, or the other size. So now we are on to the second measurements that I gave you, the second sizing. So I have the scraps here, and then the original. So again, you're going to repeat the same thing. We're going to wrap around these scraps first, and once we're done wrapping these scraps, then we are going to continue with that other part. Okay, so super simple. Just grab your scraps and then just roll them around. Okay, so let me go ahead and let me finish rolling these scraps, and then I'll show you how it's looking, and then we'll finish her up. Okay, you guys, so I am done rolling those scraps. So now we're gonna get to the other. So now we're just going to, same thing, just wrap these around. So as you can see, the more we're adding, the larger it is becoming. Now you can definitely, if you want to make smaller ones, then you would just play around with the sizing, and then you would obviously use less as well. And this is it. So let me go ahead and roll these around, and then we will get back to, because then we just have the outer ones that we have to do. All right, guys, so I am done with that part. So now we are on to the last measurements that I gave you. So these, remember, had the 3 only on the 8.5 by 11. So we're gonna start off with the scraps. But now remember, I said to cut 2 of each. So I'm doing, this is optional, but this is the first time I've ever tried this with a sunflower, adding the yellow in with the brown. And I absolutely love it. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off with 2 brown. And then just roll these. Okay, so this is the scraps. Okay, so now that you have the 2 brown, now you're going to do 2 yellow. Okay, so now that you did the 2 yellow, now we're going to go back and do 2 brown. Okay, so we're going to repeat this. So 2 brown, 2 yellow, 2 brown, 2 yellow. Okay, so this is my brown. So now 2 yellow. Okay, so let me finish this up, the scraps, and then we'll get to the last part. Okay, guys, so I am done with those scraps. So now we are going to repeat the process, same thing. So this is the last of the bunch. So you're going to repeat the process, and we are going to do 2 brown, 2 yellow, 2 brown, 2 yellow until we are all done. Now I like to add glue midway. So beginning, so I add glue in the beginning, then midway I like to add glue, and then the end. Okay, so those were my 2 brown. So now we're gonna do the 2 yellow. Okay, so let me finish this part up, and I will be right back. Okay, you guys, so now we're all done rolling all those images. So now we are going to these longer parts. You are just going to pull these back. It's a lot easier if you set it down. Let's move that out of the way. And voila, there you go. Now, you will notice a few glue strings. I do, and it annoys me. So you can use some tweezers and then just kind of pluck those right out, okay? Okay, so now that we have the center done, we obviously need a floral to put it in. So there's many options you can use. You don't have to use any of my templates, but I'm going to show you template 104 that I did use. I do have other video tutorials on template 104 flowers that you can make with this specific template, but let me show you how to make this flower. It's super simple, you guys. Now I'm going to take you to Design Space to show you what the SVG looks like and which petals you will use. Okay, you guys, so this is what SVG 108 looks like. I think I was calling it 104. I don't know why. This is template 108. So with template 108, there's going to be four different, actually, because this is the other four different sizes. So as you can see, this is in the purple shade, blue shade, green shade, and red shade. And that is because when I created this template, I created this flower. Do we see her up here, right there? And I created 4 different sizes. So that's why I had separated them by sizes. Okay. So we are going to be using the red ones that are right here. Where is my mouse? Well, there we go. So we're going to be using the red ones. So which is the middle, well, second to largest petal sizes. So we're not going to be using these, not these, not these, and you're just going to read the directions accordingly. So here it tells you, oh, can we focus? Okay, large red, 7.5, medium pink, 5.4, and light pink, 4.1. So I already did the sizing for these. And you're going to need 10 petals of each. Okay, so there's only 3 petals. And you're going to do 10 of each. The rest over here, just get rid of it because you don't need it. But obviously save it if you do get the template, so that way you have the directions in case you ever have to, you know, do the sizing all over again. Personally, when I do my SVGs, I already automatically do the sizing and then save it. So that way I don't have to keep changing the sizing, if that makes sense. Now, I do recommend when you're going to cut these out to then just make them all one color, because they are going to be all the same color. And then I am just going to hit make it. Now, because I am going to be using 8.5 by 11, I'm going to go over here and change it to 8.5 by 11. So that way it already moves them for me. So that way they fit in an 8.5 by 11. So as you can see, I am going to be cutting out 5 mats. So let me go ahead and cut those out. All right, you guys, so let's get to the flower part. So again, I'm using my template 108. So I made 10 petals of each. Now, and again, I am using tax weight paper. Now, you can curl your petals. Typically, I find with working with tax weight paper, if I'm cutting on my Cricut Design Space, because my mat is sticky, when I lift the paper off, it automatically already gives the petal a curl, which is why I wanted to use a tax weight, because I had a feeling that was what was going to happen. Whereas cardstock, if you can see, this is more flat, like it's just straight. So there's really no curl to any of these petals compared to, say, this one. I don't know if you can see how that petal just curls forward. So that's on your preference, whether you want to curl them or if you don't. Just a disclaimer though, with tax weight, that's what it tends to do when you lift it off the mat, you know, because the mat is sticky. It automatically gives it a slight curl. So we're gonna go with it. Okay, so we're gonna get the larger petals. So you need 10. We're gonna glue these around in a circle. Add a very small dot of glue to the corner, and then we're gonna glue the next petal. Okay, so we're gonna go around in a circle. Now see this one, she's a little too curled. So we're gonna go around in a circle, gluing 10 of the petals. Now, I don't always get this circle right the first time. So we'll see if we're able to squeeze in all 10. You definitely don't have to use all 10 petals, you guys. If you wanna do 8, 9, maybe even more. So let's see how many I am able to fit. center more. All right, I can already tell that I'm going to have to readjust some of these petals. So we're gonna okay, so let's look. This is a perfect example. See how the circle's not circling right here? So we are just going to gently take those petals off. Oh, that was my glue guts holder. So we are just going to continue. I always get those comments like, oh, you always get it right the first time. No, I don't. I really don't. But this is why I always say you can lift your petals up. And that's why you want to add the tiniest amount of glue. So that way when you lift the petal up, we are not damaging the whole petal, if that makes sense. Because if we add a lot of glue and we lift that petal up, well then yes, it is going to damage the petal. Okay, I think we're good on the circle. I'm just gonna have to curl this one petal back. You see her? She's a little flimsy. I'm gonna curl her back, but this is what you should have. Do you see how now we have a nice circle? That is your end goal. Okay, now we're gonna need a scrap. Well, not a scrap. I don't have a scrap of this color, but we want to cut out a circle that is larger than that one that we have there. So, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's my circle. I am gonna add glue around. And we are just going to close this right there. Okay, you see that, how we close it? Let me curl this one back because it's annoying me. Okay, there you go. I had to curl her a little bit back because she's she was getting in the way. So now we're going to go to the next size. So we need a 10 as well. And you are just going to go in between the petals. And that's it. Just go around and glue those. Okay, so let me finish this layer up and I'll be right back. All right, we are done with that second layer. So we are on to our last layer, so the smaller petal. And we are going to need 10 of these as well. So now remember with this template 108, you do receive, so there's 4 different sizes available and each size comes with 3 petals. So this was the second largest. So there's definitely a larger one and then there's 2 smaller ones. You could follow the same steps if you want to make it smaller, so you do the same amount. Now as for the center, you would just have to play around with the sizing. Again, it is a ping, so you're able to manipulate the sizing of that center. And then you would just use less if you were going to make the smaller ones. And if you were going to make the larger sunflower with template 108, this size I feel like would definitely work. You would probably just maybe add more to it. So remember how we cut out 3 of the center sheets? Maybe you would do 4 or 5. So then you would just add extra to make it more wider. All right, we are almost done. And I don't know if I mentioned, I am using the Surebonder Mini Detailed Glue Gun. Okay, and we are all done with the flower part. So then now all we would do is we would add glue to the back of our center, and then you would glue her in the center. I'm not going to do that just yet because I'm going to take pictures of her, but I just wanted to show you that. So you're just going to add glue to the back quite a bit of glue actually you're gonna have to add, and then just glue her in the center. And look how pretty she is. Okay, you guys, and the sunflower is done. So here they are, so you can see, aren't they adorable? So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I know some of you wanted to know how I assembled especially that center, because again, you could use any petal that you may have and incorporate this floral center. So again, the flower part is my template 108 and the center part is using my pink center 4. You can find both on my Etsy channel, and I hope you found that helpful, and I will chat with you guys later. Bye.